one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. I have a dream today.
2 days after this speech, the FBI classified Martin Luther King Jr. as the most dangerous threat to national security in America. He delivered this speech August 28, 1963, and less than a month later, the 16th Street Baptist Church was bombed by 4 KKK members, killing 4 black teenagers by the names of Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robertson, and Carol Denise McNair, and severely injuring more than 20 others. Now, had the FBI viewed the KKK, the group of people lynching, murdering, and raping black people in America, as the biggest threat to national security, some could argue attacks like that could have been prevented. But that would mean actually focusing on the clear threat. I mean, and who wants to do that, right? Nonetheless, when you look at the way Dr. King was surveyed, simply for using the power of words to activate and ignite a movement as one of the greatest threats to the country, it was another prominent example of an issue that has plagued American history since its beginning. The vilification of black people who seek to shed light on injustice. One that, oh yes, well, many things have changed, is still prominent today. And I know this is around the point where you'll scream, oh, you're just race baiting. That was the 60s. Things have changed. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because let's journey back to just last year, where a leaked FBI report highlighted the imminent threat of black identity extremists as a national security threat, deeming this non-existent group as a violent threat, asserting that black activists who have grievances about racialized police violence and inequities in the criminal justice system have spurred a violent movement against law enforcement officers. And when you weigh up this terminology to the Bureau's infamous COINTELPRO program of the 1960s and 70s, under which J. Edgar Hoover set out to disrupt and destroy virtually any group with the word black in its name, it has frightening and dangerous similarities. Now, aside from the fact that it has been proven time and time again that white identity extremists are the greatest threat to Americans, it is still perceived that radical black people who want to say, hey, stop killing us, are considered to be the biggest threat to America. Hell, when Jeff Sessions was asked about whether there were any white identity extremist groups under surveillance, he said this:
But it's not coming to me at this moment.
But the similarities are not just the way Dr. King was classified by the Bureau, but in the media, in popular culture. As James Baldwin put it so perfectly,
any white man in the world says, give me liberty or give me death, the entire white world applauds. When a black man says exactly the same thing, word for word, he is judged a criminal and treated like one, and everything possible is done to make an example of this bad nigger so there won't be any more like him.
So taking a journey back again to the 60s, inspired by Dr. King, Muhammad Ali, at the height of his career, said he was a conscientious objector and refused to be drafted into the Vietnam War. He was arrested, his title was immediately stripped and his boxing license revoked. A year later, in 1968, John Carlos and Tommy Smith raised their fists in protest with Australian Peter Norman wearing an OPHR badge in solidarity with Smith and Carlos at the Olympic Games in Mexico, after which both Smith and Carlos were expelled from the Games and lambasted as agitators, traitors, and infamously black-skinned stormtroopers by Greg Musburger, who, by the way, has never apologized for those remarks. And now, in 2018, let me think, who else has spoken out against injustice and as a result was tarnished by the mainstream media, lambasted as a disrespectful thug, and ultimately lost his job as a result of it. Oh, that's right, Colin Kaepernick. The man who literally could not have embodied Martin Luther King anymore in his approach if he tried, has been raked over the coals ever since he took a knee. Oh, but don't worry, those who scorned him for this are now out here sharing Martin Luther King quotes and praising the great doctor. I swear I'm in the twilight zone. The bottom line is, it is important to celebrate what Dr. King stood for, but not by standing by and watching those who look to mirror his image be tarnished and silenced, but by standing